Hi, I'm Kiah Melverton, an Australian Swim Team Member, and you're listening to the Physical Performance Show.
Failure is not an option.
I've had my ups and my downs.
Phelps with 10 meters left. 3 minutes too good. The crowd roaring. Freeman wins gold.
I think it's an absolutely breakthrough experience.
Welcome to the Physical Performance Show, the show designed to inspire the pursuit of your physical best performance. I'm your host, Brad Beer. Listen in as we delve into how the world's top physical performers achieve their success, as well as the highs, the lows, and the journey of getting there. Let's get ready, set, let's go. Listeners, welcome to another episode of the Physical Performance Show. I trust you've been having a great week, and I also hope you've been enjoying some of the previous guests of the Physical Performance Show, including recent guests Charlotte Purdue, UK pocket rocket marathoner, and followed by Steve Monaghetti. Steve needs very little introduction, but for those that do need one, Australian running legend, just let me say that. And last week, of course, Tim Burkle, Ironman triathlon champion. We're in for a real treat this week, featuring young up-and-comer 800 metre and open water swimmer Kiah Melverton. More on Kiah in a moment. As always, today's show is lovingly brought to you by POGO Physio. We exist to help you perform at your physical best, and we do this through our industry-first, fixed price and unlimited access 2, 6 and 12-week finish line programs. We want everyone who walks through our doors here at POGO to get what we call the high five moment. And what's that? Well, that's where we high five you, we tell you that we love you, but you finish rehabilitation and we don't need to see you again. Unless, of course, it's for maintenance or performance optimization treatment or a new injury. But we want everyone to get across their finish line and to not have that experience of feeling like you just need to keep going back to your physio. So that's what we've done. We're having a great time offering this to our patients, and more importantly, our patients are having a great time on the receiving end. So across the programs, patients can experience the benefits of unlimited hands-on treatment. So if you need to be on the treatment table every day, then that's what we'll do. You don't pay any more for that. Likewise, if you need to be attending active rehabilitation with some real intent and intensity, then that's what you're doing. We have patients who are on the clinical Pilates reformers 4 times a week, using the Alter G anti-gravity treadmill multiple times a week, the whole body vibration unit known as a Galileo multiple times a week, and also their hands-on therapies. We don't mind how many times you're in the practice. We just care that you get across your finish line and you get back to your physical best so you can enjoy the things that you love to do in life. For more information, simple, jump over to pogophysio.com.au. A big thank you, as always, to you, the faithful listeners, for your support of the program. Thanks to you, the listener, who has been sharing this around. I know this happens a lot, and it's an incredible sign of support for the program when people get referred to listen to this. So a massive thank you if you've done that over the last, what's now 55 episodes. So massive thanks. And also thank you to you, the listener, who has taken the time to leave a review on iTunes. Really appreciate it. So a big shout out this week to RP or RSWP, and RSWP's rated the Physical Performance Show 5 stars in iTunes, and the comments are, "Hi Brad, love the podcast and look forward to each new guest. We have a few things in common from growing up in Grafton, idolising Brad Bevan, and a love of triathlon and running. Keep those inspirational guests coming." RSWP, mate, thank you very much, and please jump over to somewhere on social and let me know your full and true identity, because you've intrigued me now. So we do certainly share some similarities. And if you're listening in and you haven't yet heard the Brad Bevan episode, then jump back through the chronology of the podcast and you will see Brad Bevan sitting in there. It was one of my pinch me moments in life, sitting there, certainly being able to interview my triathlon and sporting hero from my youth. So thanks very much, RSWP. If you'd like to leave a review, then jump over to iTunes. It's really simple. Click ratings and review, and there you can rate away. 1 star if you think it's okay, 5 stars if you think it's great. That'd be nice. And you need to do this on a desktop computer. You can't actually do it on a mobile or a tablet. It needs to be on your desktop, and that would be absolutely terrific. Today's guest is Kiah Melverton. Kiah is an Australian swim team member and a young swimmer really on the rise. She hails out of the TSS swim program here on the Gold Coast, and I recently caught up with Kiah after she'd been in to get some remedial massage therapy from our great remedial therapist, Satoshi, and we sat down and we spoke through what it was like persisting to break through to her first Australian swim team selection, which she achieved in 2016, where Kiah went over to the World Short Course Swimming Championships in Ontario, Canada, coming away with a great performance to pick up bronze in the 800 metre freestyle, swimming a PB time of 8:16.51. Now in 2017, Kiah has also shored up selection for the World Swimming Championships to be held in July in Budapest, qualifying in the 5 kilometre open water swim. So back-to-back years Australian swim team selection. I think we're just starting to see some of the potential of this great young swimmer. And Kiah shares openly around the years spent swimming as a junior, her love for the sport, dealing with the expectation and pressures of the sport, and also the expectations, of course, of herself, right through to her teammates at the TSS program, some fun banter that they have, and also her dreams and aspirations for her swimming career, including the upcoming 2018 Commonwealth Games. So guys, you're going to really enjoy this episode featuring Kiah Melverton. Let's not jump in, let's dive right in. Miss Kiah Melverton, it is great to have you sitting here with me today, and I've been looking forward to catching up with you. Really, it seems like you're on a meteoric rise with your swimming results, and I've been observing your results. Obviously, you're intermittently in and out of here, this building that we're sitting in today here at the practice, POGO, and I was just thrilled when recently you came away with that bronze medal in the World Short Course Swimming Championships in the 800 metre free. So we want to explore that today. But let's rewind the clock, and I'll start with something a little bit out of the gates, which is a bit of a thinking question. What's one thing that scares Kiah Melverton?
Scares?
Yeah.
I think it's not so much the training that I do. It's like when you stand up on those blocks and you have these guys, massive guys that are well known, sitting next to you. That freaks me out all the time, and it's something that I've had to learn to deal with over the years, and I think I'm getting better at that. And as you become more confident, that's something that you can take with you. But always, since I was really young, I haven't been like the biggest girl. Standing up with these girls, they're head and shoulders taller than me, it just always scared me. But yeah, that's something that I'm working with, and I think it's improving, getting there.
Any examples of any swimmers that have freaked you out, say at the World Short Course Swimming Championships?
It wasn't so much short course worlds. I think I was a bit better there, but World Cups before that, I stood up next to the girl who'd won the 10K at Rio. That was pretty daunting. And Katinka Hozu, world champion in many events, Rio Olympic gold medalist, world record holder 400 IM, standing up next to her, knowing I had to race her in her pet event right next to her on the blocks was really daunting.
So what's going through your head when you are standing next to the blocks?
You know that she's the top, she's the best in the world, but you kind of have to zone out and think, no, you can't concentrate on her, you have to do your own thing. But in the back of your head, you're like, the best in the world is standing right next to me right now.
So does it make you feel a little bit sort of insignificant or start to doubt yourself, or it doesn't really change how you're
Yeah, it
processing.
does. You do start to doubt yourself, but that's when you have to look back in your head and be like, I've done all the hard work. I know what I'm doing. How many times have you swum this event before? You know what you're doing. You have to kind of back yourself in your own prep and know that you can stand up and swim the way you need to.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kiah, in your swimming career, how did you find yourself in the pool, and at what point did you know that you had some genuine talent?
Started out as a little grom, actually, doing surf lifesaving.
Here on the Gold Coast?
Yeah, at Burleigh Surf Club. But that was the main reason that I was in the pool, just to maintain my fitness in the surf and surf swimming. And then one year, maybe 2014, I think I qualified for nationals in the 800 free. Decided not to go, wanted to compete at Aussies instead. And then the next year I was like, hang on, I'm actually a half decent swimmer, maybe I should give swimming a crack. And then that's when surf kind of faded out and swimming took over.
And at that point, Kiah, you were, 17, 18 ish, or
15, 16 was the first time I competed at nationals. So that was the year I kind of started to take it seriously.
you're swimming more seriously.
Yeah.
Up until that point, you were straddling swimming
Surf,
as part of your surf fitness.
Yeah.
And for any overseas listeners, when Kiah refers to Aussies, that's the Australian Surf Lifesaving Championships, which are the flagship event really for surf lifesaving here in Australia. So Kiah, you had your success, qualified for nationals. When you went to nationals, how did you perform?
First nationals, I think I was third in the 800. Massive PB, never thought I would swim that fast. Other events not too shabby, but then the year after concentrating on swimming for a year, I came away with 3 golds, 3 silvers, and that's when I kind of knew that I needed to take swimming seriously and kind of give it a good crack.
And that was at nationals, Kiah, that you came away with all those medals?
Yeah, nationals.
After just 12 months of
12 months
more
of really focusing on swimming,
focus. Yeah, certainly. And that then finished your school life, is that right, at that point?
Yeah. I think I had 1 year of school left after that. I did year 12 over 2 years.
Yep. So
kind of spread it out, just concentrate on my swimming and make sure that I was getting the right recovery in between sessions and school, take away the stress. But yeah.
Did that work for you? Because I actually did the same thing in New South Wales for my triathlon as a finish in school. It spread over 2 years. The problem for me was I crashed my bike really bad, and then I couldn't do anything for the second year anyway. So I felt like I was agonising the fact that all my mates had left town and I'm still there trying to finish my second year. But how did that play out for you?
So second year of year 12 was when I'd kind of expected to have time away from school because I was hoping to make a junior team, and then I missed the junior team, so kind of felt like a waste. But all the guys that I was swim training with actually were finishing year 12 when I was finishing my second year, so I kind of slotted into what the rest of the guys in the squad were doing, so it didn't really affect me too much.
So it didn't have that greater bearing on you.
No.
And you've been, obviously you swim with a very strong TSS squad, and you've been swimming there for how many years?
I think I've been swimming at TSS for 13 years or something, Mum and I figured out the other day. So it's been a long time. I've been there pretty much my whole swimming career.
So it really has, Kiah, been your whole development as a swimmer.
Yeah, TSS has completely skyrocketed me. I'm going there training I was with a lot of the Aussie coaches were there way before, and then as soon as the British coaches came in, Chris Nesbitt, Liam Defoe, they've just helped with my development so much. I don't think I would be where I am today without those 2 coaches. Yeah.
What in particular, Kiah, for you, if you had to boil it down to say 3 things that their coaching has helped you develop in, what would those 3 things be for you?
Chris's favourite word is resilience. That's a massive part of our training.
What's your definition of resilience?
I think no matter what happens, you have to be positive within yourself. Like, just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean you're going to have a bad swim in 6 months' time. You need to come back and look at what you're doing and, like, really zone into your prep. Like, just because you're having a bad section doesn't mean the whole prep's going to be bad. You can't let yourself get down. You have to stay positive throughout the whole process and just trust in the process, then that you're going to get the result in the end if you put all the hard work in.
Yeah, great. And so that's resilience. That'd be one of the things.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I think just hard work. TSS, we have a lot of distance swimmers, and just getting in and doing the Ks. Like, don't get the recognition that we deserve. I think swimmers, we're getting up early in the mornings, we're coming back late at night, we're doing 75k a week in the pool. It's a tough sport. I think the TSS coaches really reminded us that it's a tough sport and that you have to be here. Like, if you want it bad enough, that's what you have to do. You have to really focus in the pool. And listening to them talk about stories from other coaches and swimmers that they've coached, it's really incredible to see where they've come from.
In terms of the athletes or the coaches?
Yeah, that. Some of the other athletes that Chris coached back in Great Britain, they weren't the best swimmers, he's said, but just the way that they approached everything with their attitude, it's really it can change everything in this sport. So
we've got hard work, resilience. What would be the third ingredient that's really been so cataclysmic in your development?
I think believing in yourself is another massive part, especially for me. I've always struggled with self-confidence, standing up on the blocks next to those guys. You have to really back yourself and know, I've done the hard work, I believe in what I'm doing. Chris has always spoken to me about that as well. Past few weeks it's been Kiah, I know you can get into the 820s, I know you can swim faster, I just have to start believing that myself. And he knows as well that when I'm more confident, I can stand up on the blocks and no one can stop me. I just have to believe that I can do that.
And so what strategies do you use, Kiah, to try and bolster that belief, so that when you do get to, which we'll get to during this interview, you get to your first international meet and you're standing on the blocks in the 800 free, what are the practical strategies that you use to bolster your belief? Obviously you've got, and that, I believe that's one of the most important roles for a coach, in not just sport but in any aspect of life, is being able to see more for the athlete or the person than what they can see for themselves, and really pull that out of them, like obviously you just shared there with you've got
Chris is really good at that.
Your 820s in you, but practically when it's up to you and it's game day, what are you doing to try and make sure your belief doesn't plummet as you get up there on the blocks?
I find that I'm really good at self-talk. If I can kind of zone out, sit to myself and just talk to myself about what I've done and how I'm going to approach the race, just focus on the process and not the result. That always helps me before my race, kind of calms the nerves as well. I know how to attack it. I've done it before.
So it's an interesting distinction, the process and the result. So it's almost like putting the cart before the horse, isn't it? When it's like, well, I want a medal or I want to, but the process is different. So give me an example, say for your successful world short course champs, which result in the bronze medal. What was the process that you were rehearsing in your head? Okay.
So I knew going into the heats that I would have to swim a decent time. So I completely forgot about the final, completely forgot about that, focused on the heat swim, knew that I had to go out hard in the first 400 and hold on and attack and stay with the girls. I went in front, and then whatever happened from that, then we'd change my mindset after that. So after I was finished 4th or 5th after the heats, knew I'd have a lane in the final, and that's when you have a day in between heats and finals to kind of focus on what you're doing. So I knew that I had to just get in. I had my race plan, spoken with Chris, control the first 200, build, and then kind of attack the last 200 as hard as you can. And so a medal wasn't discussed between Chris and I. It was just how to race your race, and then whatever happened.
Yep. And so the medal, maybe you didn't, because this was your first international meet and it was a big stage for you, but did Chris after concede that he thought that you were in with a medal chance?
Yeah, I think Chris always knew.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to kind of freak me out and put any extra pressure on me. But I think Chris always has this incredible belief in what I'm doing, and always pushes me further than what I think I can do, and always sets targets that I thought were completely impossible, and then I get in the pool and hit them anyway. So
all right. So, and we're still I want to come back to this. I know we're pushing it out, but I really want to dig a bit deeper into this first international meet. But so you've had a meteoric rise after school. You've focused. You did year 12 2 years. These three key things: self-belief, hard work, resilience have really been added to you through your coaching team. Just in terms of chronology, Kiah, what did it look like after school then? You finished your second year. Was it a big decision for you to say, I want to really just
get some focus, real intense focus on my swimming, or did you start looking at degrees to try and balance that out? What was life like for you at that point?
I always knew that I was going to start my uni degree, so I'm studying exercise science at Griffith Uni.
How far in are you now? Okay.
I think this is my third year, but I'm still on first year subjects, so part-time. Yeah. So I always knew I was going to be studying, but I always knew that it would be part-time as well, because swimming's the main priority at the moment. I think I have unlimited time to finish that degree, and I'm not in any rush at the moment. Swimming's a bit more important, so...
Yeah, and so family life, what's any brothers or sisters in your household?
Younger brother, younger sister.
So two younger siblings?
Yeah.
And are they fishers as well, or what are they into, Kiah?
Younger brother was playing footy,
Yep.
Gold Coast Suns Academy, and he's now a mechanic.
Yep.
Younger sister's still in school, year 12, final year, so she's just enjoying the school life and working and, hanging around with friends.
So you're the sort of full-on head down in the sports world, and your siblings and it must be a supportive environment. They must all be super proud of their big sister.
Oh, yeah. I get the messages every so often, saying good luck and all that kind of stuff, and if I'm running late to training or something, Zali will have food made for me and stuff like that. But mum as well, like massive support. I don't think I'd be anywhere close to where I am. She drives me to the pool every day and is always there at swim meets, and it's incredible.
And did any of your family accompany you over to Windsor, Canada for the World Short Course Champs?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they wanted to stay
That was all right
warm.
though, yeah.
Leaving the 30-degree weather of the Gold Coast for the beanies and the big rugs that you guys had over there.
Yeah.
It's bad swap, right?
All the snow, yeah.
Yeah, so Kiah, after school, finished school, you started university part-time. To give listeners a perspective, you touched on it there, you said there's 75 Ks, you know, your weeks are big. Paint a picture for listeners that aren't familiar with the rigours of pool, endurance, swimming, and obviously there's been some open water stuff which we'll cover. What does a week look like for you in terms of your training load? Typical week, an average week.
So I'll do 10 sessions in the pool. That's usually 7.5 K sessions. We'll do 2 to 3 gym, a spin class. It's about 30 hours at the pool all up a week, so it's pretty crazy, and I don't think people realise how much time swimmers actually spend in the pool.
That's a lot of Ks. In total hours, you'd be in, so for your routine, your morning session starts at...
Most morning sessions we're in the pool at around 5:30, sometimes even diving in at 5 o'clock in the morning until 7:38, back at the pool at 4 o'clock in the afternoon till about 6:30 at night, so...
And strength and conditioning alongside that. So you've got your core sessions morning, night. You get Sundays out of the water altogether.
Yeah, Sundays are completely out at the moment.
Yep. And Saturday mornings obviously are a session. Saturday arvos are off.
Yeah.
So it's technically a day and a half.
Yeah.
But then interspersed, what are the other things that live around your core swimming sessions?
So we have our 3 gym sessions. We go Monday night, Wednesday morning, Saturday morning. It's mainly basic strength stuff at the moment, or power work, depending on where we are in the season. Strength's something that I've struggled with for a long time, so the gym sessions are really important for me. And then recently we've been adding in a spin class on a Monday night, just for extra endurance strength. Only us distance swimmers are doing that at the moment, but I think that's really helping as well.
What have you noticed with the spin class stuff? What has it actually done for you?
I think it's just another way to get endurance-based training in, and something different that we don't normally do. I think the gym makes you really fatigued, and that's something that we've struggled with at the moment. We're getting so fatigued from gym and kind of crashing, and then we're finding it hard to get up and swim fast in the pool. So doing those spin sessions is kind of letting us have another way to get endurance work in without us being so fatigued that we can't swim the next day.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? Because a lot of people wouldn't associate that, how's that going to help you swimming?
No.
But it's fascinating. Even strength and conditioning, I mean, it just makes, from my desk, from my work world, it obviously is fundamental, but outsiders looking in would be like, why are you lifting weights? Aren't you a swimmer?
Yeah.
How many years have you been concentrating on the resistance work for?
Maybe the last 2 to 3 years. Gym's been really important. A lot of my basic strength, my squats, my chins, deadlifts, stuff like that. If you don't have that power to weight ratio in the water, you can be so off. You can be really strong but not strong in the water. You kind of have to find the right balance, and that's really important.
How many pull-ups can you do in a row, Kiah? There's a bit of a...
Not many.
Not many?
Don't ask. I think my best is like 7.
That's good. I mean, it's funny. Some of the previous guests on the program, some of the endurance runners, the road runners, from Rio and things, they banter around these. Some call them heaves. Cassie Finn calls them heaves, and Genevieve Lacaze calls them pull-ups, and everyone's got different names for them. But there's this range of expectation as to how many pull-ups you can do, and it's almost amazing. It's almost like this universal athletic challenge, no matter what the sport. How many pull-ups can you do? Prove your worth. I mean, if that's the biggest merit, though, then next time we can all go home, right?
Yeah.
So Kiah, to date. In years, you're now how many years?
20.
20. So 20 young years. To date, has there been any times in your swimming career where it's been a bit of a dark and sort of stormy season, and you ever considered what you were doing, if you were doing the right thing? Have you had any of those in your career to date?
When I was 17, I think it was, I was kind of sick, not 100% for 3 months leading into the trials, and kind of set really high expectations for myself to make the junior team, which was a big goal of mine. And then when I missed that team, it kind of like all came crashing down for 2-3 weeks, and that was pretty hard to kind of stand back up and go, no, hang on, this is something I still really want to do. Try to get myself back into a positive mindset. The same thing happened last year at trials for the Olympics. Sick 10 days before racing started, couldn't get out of bed, went in not really sure of what I could do, but still had the whole year I'd been like, I can get top 2, I can try get on the team, it's going to be tough, but that's a big target. So to still have that in the back of your head, knowing that you've been sick, and then to go in and race way below expectations, and then come back and I'm swimming next to people in the group that are going to the Olympics that are like living my dream, and I hadn't made it. That was so hard for 2 months. I was just like, why am I even swimming? Like, there's no point. I don't want to do it anymore. And it took a long time for me to kind of stand up and go, no, hold on, it's not the end of the world. There's another 4 years. You've got Worlds coming up. Com Games are on the Gold Coast. Get your head right. You can do it.
So when you say it took a long time, how long are we talking?
Maybe 2-3 months of really struggling to get in the pool before I kind of got back into the groove of it.
And what practically helped you get your head right, as you say?
Chris helped a lot. Kind of sat down with him a few times and talked about it and said, just because you had one bad year, like, it's not going to change anything. You're still swimming like this. You had a whole year of this really good training. Like, those results are going to come. You have to give it time. I think just actually sitting down and realising that myself, and then I kind of started to get back into the groove of what I was doing.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, from your squad at the national trials, or the Olympic trials, national titles, 2016 here in Australia, David Morgan obviously made his first Olympic berth.
Yeah.
And I've gone completely. Who else from your squad qualified?
We have people from New Zealand and Canada that train with us that qualified. So I had a distance girl from New Zealand, Emma Robinson, qualified for the 800.
Yep.
So that was like a massive goal of mine. And then to get in and train with her every day was kind of like, why am I doing this? She's going, I'm
when Emma's
not.
going to Rio and you were homebound.
Yeah.
So look, that's tough, but that's all behind you now. You feel you've got to, and obviously you've just qualified for the World Open Water Swimming Championships through without taking this the wrong way, but what was a surprise for me when I saw you taking out the 5K Open Water Swimming Championships recently down south. Not that you wouldn't have the talent, but I'm like, Kiah's winning the national title now in the 5K, not even in the pool. So you've now qualified for World Champs for open water. What was that like? I mean, were you expecting to win the national title in 5K down at Adelaide, wasn't it?
Definitely wasn't expecting to win, but knew I had a chance. Open water is something that I've always done, just as part of training. Whenever there's state or nationals, we've kind of got in and given it a good crack. But heading down there, I always knew I had a chance. I'd spoken about it to coaches on a camp that I'd been on and knew that top 2 fastest were going through, and knew that I could race those girls. I have a decent time in the pool. I have surf practice. I know what I'm doing in the open water. But never expected to win it. So when I came out like a minute faster than some of the other girls, I was so shocked. I didn't see that coming at all.
And so, mum and dad down there and your family?
Yeah, mum was down there.
Yep.
So yeah, when I kind of finished, I look up and she's standing on the pier above the water, like screaming, and all the TSS other guys that were there as well. It was pretty crazy.
And was Chris down there? Did your coach go down?
Yeah, Chris went down.
Yep.
Not something that he really does either. He has a few open water swimmers, but it hasn't really been a big focus of TSS. But we're starting to get a lot more kids interested in open water, so yeah.
Certainly. And what was the first thing that Chris, your coach, said to you when you came away with a 5,000 metre national title?
It was pretty much, I told you could do it, Kiah.
And what was your response?
I kind of just chuckled.
And so, congratulations! What a great result. And so the World Champs are in July. But then you've also got trials, national titles here in Australia in April, where you'll swim the 800 metre free.
400 free, 200 free, possibly a 400 AM. Haven't really discussed it with Chris yet, but that's basically what I swim, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's going to be a heavy meet, birthing spots for the World Championships.
Yeah, so 800 frees first night, straight final. That'll be my first swim of the meet. But I think knowing that I've already qualified for Worlds open water kind of takes the pressure off. I'm already on the team, so I can get into that 800 and attack it, and I have nothing to lose. Literally, like, I'm already on the team. I have nothing to lose. I can leave it all in the pool.
Won't this be a fascinating experiment to not have any of that, pressure on you, whether it's internalised or you're feeling it from, people that know you've just come away with a bronze medal and the world champ, so therefore we'd expect you to qualify. But this is going to be a fascinating type, liberating, I believe, almost experience for you, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be nice to stand up on the blocks knowing I've already achieved my goal for this year, which was making the team, and now I've always wanted to make it in the pool, but I don't think the pressure or the expectations are going to be there, so I'll be a lot more comfortable, a lot more relaxed. I'm not going to have all the adrenaline going that kind of gets you a bit shaky, and I'll be able to really think about what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. And let's just unpack the last little bits of your Windsor, Canada success. So the 800 free, what time did you swim in the 800 to win the bronze?
8:16 something, I'm not 100%
Which was a PB?
Yeah, 4-second PB, something
4-second
like that,
PB. And what was that time like, your 8:16 PB, compared to the time you swum after being ill for 10 days prior, the year before at trials here in Australia, Olympic trials?
I think last year at short course trials I swam like 8:26 or something, so it was like 10 seconds over a year.
Yeah, which is significant, right?
Yeah.
And what was the first thing Chris said to you at Worlds when you came away with a bronze medal?
There was actually a bit of banter going on with me and David Morgan.
Yep.
So it's kind of always a big competition between him and I, who can get funding first, who can get on the team first, and he's beaten me every single time. So this time I made the final before he'd made a world championship final, and so I was like, oh, Dave made the final before you, kind of throwing a bit of chat. But then his final was swum before mine, so he got a bronze in the 100 fly, and then I got a bronze in the 800 free. So the first thing I hear when I come out and walk into the coaches area is Dave Morgan going, haha, I got it first.
But it's just, and it's great though that you're right, you both had medals. I mean, it's
we love it. We I think friendly competition is something that's really good for the group. But Chris kind of pulled me away, and first thing he said was about how I swum it. It was like, yeah, you swum it really well, like it was well paced, you stuck into it, and then it was congrats on the medal. But it always goes back to the process.
Wow, isn't that a big distinction? Wow. Kiah, you've got what some would describe as a once-in-a-generation swimmer that swims your event, that has the world record for your event, your pet event, that is 800 metre free, in Katie Ledecky. As a young up-and-coming swimmer who's clearly on the rise yourself, how do you process the fact that at some point your paths will collide and you'll be in, one of the 8 lanes in that pool at a meet somewhere, racing, an athlete like Katie Ledecky? Does it play with the confidence, or is it something that you don't even entertain because it's like, well, she's doing her own thing? How do you practically navigate
so
that?
She's never been beaten in an individual event ever in her life, I think. So Chris and I have spoken about it. It's good to look at the sets that she's doing and how she trains, but standing up next to her, you almost have to ignore what she's doing. You know she's going to be way in front of everyone. No one's even within touching reach of her. There's no point even concentrating on what she's doing. You have to go back to your own process and think about what you're doing and race the other people in the pool. She's always going to be out in front. You can't stop that. You can't stop what your other competitors are doing. You have to focus on yourself.
Yeah, wow. I mean, the trap would be that you start worrying about what she's done and who she is, right? Does it demotivate you trying to be your best?
I don't think so. Like you said, you get these people that are once in a generation. You had Michael Phelps. People don't stand up next to Michael Phelps and say freak out or anything, but it's pretty cool to see where the limits can be pushed in freestyle swimming, whether anyone will get there anytime soon or not. But yeah, I think it's all about focusing on yourself.
When do you think the 8-minute barrier for the 800 free for the women will fall? Kiah, what's your prediction?
Pretty soon. I'd say World Champs or Com Games. She's crazy that no one can stop her. She's incredible.
Wow, so you reckon the 8-minute barrier is under threat?
Yeah, that's a guy's time. She's swimming like times that the guys that I train with swim. So it's pretty crazy to think that girls are doing that in sport now.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks for being so transparent about that there. Kiah, let's do a performance round. So this is a little bit like an interval session, right? So, it could be 100 free, 10 hundreds on some crazy cycle. You ready? So I'm going to throw you a few questions. Your training session you most dislike?
Day or actual session?
Both, actually. You should tell me the training day you most dislike and the training session that you most dislike.
Thursday mornings. Hate Thursday mornings. It's pull, it's resistance, it's dragonflies behind you. Hate it every time. Session I most dislike. I used to do a big IM set, just like 8K of IM. 2050s fly, however many hundreds backstroke, 10-2s breast, 5-4s free. It was crazy.
Wow.
That's one session I'll never forget.
You would do that regularly?
Yeah.
Wow.
Never forget that. And also 10-1s best average. That kills me every time. I think that's such a hard session.
What sort of cycle are you doing those on?
So we'll go off anywhere between 1:45 and 2 minutes.
Yep.
But you're getting pretty close to PB time over and over again. It's just lactic acid. It kills
Sting
you.
City, right? The training session that you most love, Kiah?
Again, I think 10-1s. Love it and hate it. It's a really good indicator of how you're going through the year. We do a lot of best average sets that we check on all the time. So we're 10-1s, 30-1s best average, 10-3s, stuff like that. I like doing those sets. They kill you at the time, but you can look back and compare to where you were this time last year, the year before, and it's a really good indicator of how you're sitting.
It's very objective, isn't it, in terms of progress. Favourite pre-race meal? What do you normally eat the night before, your 800?
Pesto pasta every time. Chicken and pesto pasta, yeah.
And what's your bedtime, morning time normally look like in a typical week for you?
So usually I'm in bed at around 9:30 and I'll be up at anywhere between 4:15, 4:30 around that time, yeah.
Yeah. And are you a daytime napper?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have the same time that you nap and fairly consistent?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in bed again by 10 o'clock in the morning and I'll sleep for as long as I need to, 1 to 2 hours.
What's the longest you've ever slept?
3.5, 4 hours.
Just in time to go for the afternoon session.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I haven't interfered to your nap right now when we're recording this. So morning time, 4:15, 4:30. Yep. Can you get up without an alarm?
No. Alarm goes off, but I don't snooze. I'm really good at that. A lot of people snooze.
Yeah.
Kind of alarm goes off and I'm up.
Any tips for the snoozers out there?
I think you just got to get out of the habit. You just have to realise that you have to get up. You're going to have to get up anyway, so...
You're going to have to get up anyway. Isn't that great? Hey, just get up. I know it used to work for me pre my beautiful little girls, 3.5-year-old and 7-month, when I was doing my tri training or my marathon training, but I would have my alarm away from the bed, so I'd have to get up to turn the thing off before it woke my wife up.
Forces you to get up.
But now we've got kids and they're sensitive to the noise. It's right next to me, so it's so much easier just to hit it and stay. Kiah, who's the athlete you most admire and why?
I remember a few years ago reading a book about Tracy Wickham, female distance swimmer. Some of the sets that she did and just her attitude and approach to training, that's just always inspired me.
What in particular about her approach?
I think she just always knew what she was doing within herself, and her coach, Bill Sweeten, was really supportive of everything she did, but she kind of stood up and said, this is how I want to do things, I know what's going on with me, and I think that's something that I need to work on as well.
So Tracy Wickham, what was her pet event? What were her events? She was more middle
400 and 800 free, yeah.
Distance, yeah. So Tracy Wickham, how did you get that book in your hand?
I think it was on one of Mum's shelves, and I kind of picked it up, The Life of Swimming or something, and then read it, and I was like, wow, she's amazing.
As a side note, was your mum or your father, did they have backgrounds in swimming?
Mum was a swimmer, a breaststroker, so no correlation to the distance freestyle, but yeah, she does learn to swim teaching up at TSS as well, so she's been involved with swimming all her life.
Yeah, brilliant. What's your mother's name?
Melissa Goulding.
Melissa. So big props for mum listening. Hey? And who's the toughest competitor to date that you've ever raced, Kiah?
I think I'd have to say Jess Ashwood, the other Aussie girl who swims 800 free. Like me, hates losing. We always battle it out, and she's someone that just swims well all the time. Like, you can stand up on the blocks and no matter what prep she's had, she's going to come in and race you. She's just a really good racer.
And so she's a tough competitor. Mantra that you use, is there one that you typically would use on race day?
When I'm actually swimming in the pool and I'm in the middle of my race, it's long and strong.
Yeah.
So it's like long and strong with my stroke. I think that's something that I replay over and over again in my head.
And is that one that someone planted into your head, or that you just self-generated at some point?
I think it's self-generated, but it comes from stuff that my coaches have told me. Strong stroke, long stroke, kind of just merge it together, and it's just something to take my mind off the pain as well. Just long and strong, and strong.
And when you're lining up for an 800 free and you're aware that it's going to be 8 to 8.5 minutes, whatever, of just lactic, just below that lactic threshold of just stinging pain, what else do you use through either the racing environment or a training session like these best average sessions you described to, nullify some of the pain? Are you consistently just focusing on the segments of just got to get the first 50 out, the next 100? What are some of your little strategies?
So a good example is with the 10-1 set. You do your first 3 and they're okay, and then it's like, okay, just one more, and then you have 6 to go, one more, and then you have 5 to go, and it kind of, you just got to take it one at a time. That was one thing I learned from a camp that I was on. If you have one good rep and then you do that over and over again, you have a good set. And then if you have a few good sets, then you have a good week. And if you have a few good weeks, it makes a good month. And then when you add that all together, it's a whole year of good training.
Wow.
So you have to take it rep by rep.
That was the swimming camp.
Yeah.
That's profound, Kiah. Take it rep by rep.
Yeah.
Wow, because it all adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's that cumulative effect over time. Powerful. What's on best recovery tip, Kiah, before we finish the performance round? Best recovery tip.
I think sleep and hydration are really important for swimmers. You don't realise how much it takes it out of you. Even being in the pool, you have to stay hydrated. That's a big thing for me, but sleep as well. It's so important. If you're not sleeping well, you're just not recovering. Yeah,
and you shared before 9:30 to sort of 4:15, 4:30, 7 hours, fairly standard. How do you feel if you happen to get to bed a bit later, or do you notice the physical effect?
Yeah, it's terrible. You wake up in the morning, you're groggy, your head's not right, you don't want to get in the pool, then your whole training just falls behind.
Yeah, isn't it amazing, the power of recovery? How would you describe the zone? So as an athlete, everyone's aware, athletes and non-athletes, of the zone, but I like to ask guests of the program, what's the zone to you? How do you know when you're in the zone? How would you describe the feeling of it?
You just feel really good. You kind of know that you've pushed past the barrier of what you've done before. And I think when you're swimming, you almost feel like you're flying on top of the water. You're gliding through. You feel really good. You're really relaxed. It's not hurting as much as it usually does. Your head's in the right space. It's really easy when you're in the zone.
Just feel like you're on top of the water.
Yeah, you're almost like flying on top of the water. You're not kind of swimming through it and trying to get through mud. You're just gliding along the top.
So in contrast to that, for the mere mortal swimmers in the listenership, triathletes, whatever it is, that take time out of the water and get back in the water and find that their feel of the water's gone. How do you find that as an elite swimmer, an Australian swim team member? How long does it take you to lose feel for the water?
The weekend.
Yeah.
So I get back in on Monday morning. So Saturday morning, done. Saturday afternoon off, Sunday off. Monday morning is always a really hard session for me. I can't find my stroke, don't really know what I'm doing, can't sort it out. But another example, when we have our 2 weeks off after trials, coming back after those 2 weeks is the most terrible thing. You feel like you've completely forgotten how to swim.
Yeah, wow. It's just the beauty of the sport. It's such a skill and grace, isn't it? I remember Kiah post London 2012 doing some work for one of the girls that had some time out after London Olympics and was just starting to get back into her time in the pool, and she'd medalled in London. And speaking about stroke counts, I'm like, what's your stroke count like at the moment? How are you going with your stroke? And she's like, it's about +3 or +4 per 50. And I remember going, oh my gosh, hold on. You've spent your whole life in water immersed, doing multiple sessions, how obviously like you've described for us. And, I reflected at that stage I was doing some age group triathlon stuff, swimming 3 times, maybe 4 times a week, feeling like, well, what chance does anyone have of actually keeping the hold on the water when you guys are in it all the time and it takes you the weekend? But doesn't it just speak to the, the skill of swimming? It's such a skilled sport, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. The stroke count thing's crazy. When I come back from a break, I'm taking 42, 43 strokes, and when I'm at my best, I'm between 36 and 38, so...
That's 50 metres. I mean, it's incredible. Kiah, what's on your bucket list, both inside sport and outside sport?
Olympics, definitely. That's something that I've always wanted to do. Com Games before that as well, being on the Gold Coast. Outside of sport, not 100% sure. I think I'd like to go skydiving one day.
You'd like to skydive?
Yeah.
Maybe after your swimming career?
Yeah, I think after. Actually, a few of the girls went skydiving a few months ago, and Chris went, enough of that, no more skydiving.
I mean, it's just one of those things, isn't it? So maybe skydiving. What else? What makes Kiah Melverton tick outside of the pool?
I'd really love to travel as well. That's something that I've always wanted to do. Places like Greece and anywhere where there's some surf and a beach, I think, places I've always wanted to go.
You'd find yourself happy. Kiah, in terms of your sporting bucket list, you mentioned the Commonwealth Games 2018 happening here in our home city where we're sitting today of the Gold Coast. How exciting is that for you?
Oh yeah, it's crazy to have the opportunity to actually swim at a major event in your hometown, knowing that you're going to have family and friends and everyone watching you. I don't think you can beat that. Having an Aussie crowd as well, like, it's crazy. I've had other people describe it to me from their hometown swimming, and just when you stand up on the block, the cheer from the crowd is just so much bigger than what anyone else gets because you're an Aussie. I think the support would just be amazing. Let
alone the fact that, every school teacher you've ever had, everyone's going to be around,
yeah.
Right? If they're not there live, they're going to be watching. So it's going to be just amazing for the Gold Coast, and I think it's going to be an exciting time. And then obviously on to Tokyo 2020. Obviously you had the disappointment from Rio 2016 last year. You shared. What do you think practically needs to change to try and ensure your berth for Rio? For Tokyo?
I think a big thing for me is staying on top of my health, because that's happened a few times in the past where I've tapered, and then as soon as it happens to a lot of athletes, we rest, and then as soon as we start to rest, we get sick. Our body's like, okay, now's our chance to get sick. But that's a big thing for me, working on my health, which I've improved this year.
What have you done to improve your health?
I've been seeing a naturopath, and that's helped me. And just making sure I know what's going on with my body. If I feel run down or fatigued, speak to Chris about it and we can work with that together. There's no point pushing yourself to the point of getting ill. You're better off holding back and then pushing yourself again once you're 100% recovered. Yeah. That's what works for me anyway. Yeah,
fantastic. Kiah, if you could boil down everything you've learned on your career to date, your junior years in the surf and obviously your later years in the pool and open water, what would be the one bit of advice you'd give to people that are just looking to perform at their physical best irrespective of sports?
I think, like I said before, it's just believing in yourself, knowing what you've done, trusting the process. If you've gone in and done your hard work, you're going to get a result. You can't put in all this hard work and not get a result. Whether it comes that day or the next, it's going to come. You just have to trust in the process.
Yeah, well, there's that belief again, isn't there? And if you could have dinner, this is a fun question, if you could have dinner with 3 people, living or past, who'd be at that dinner table, Kiah?
let's say Tracy Wickham, because I'd like to talk to her. Leonardo DiCaprio, but like 1996 Leo, when he was really attractive.
Hold on, so we're now 2017. 1996, that's what we're talking, 21 years?
Yeah, that's like when I was born, but...
So do you feel that, and Leo, if you're listening, you're welcome to contact Kiah and you can have this discussion with her, but do you feel there's been some degradation in Leo's star qualities?
Yeah.
What was the 1996 version of Leo? What was he filming, starring in then?
Titanic, Romeo and Juliet.
Titanic.
Yeah.
Is that a bit of a favourite movie of yours?
Wouldn't say favourite movie, but favourite Leo movie, yeah.
All right, so we've got Tracy Wickham chatting to Leonardo DiCaprio. You're in the middle of them. Who's third at the table? Can be anyone living or past.
I think I'd like to have my old coach David Proud there as well, just because he loves to ask questions and he loves to find out everything about everyone. So I think it would be really interesting to have him there at the table as well.
So, okay, that's a fascinating table you've set up there. We maybe could help with Tracy, but Leo, you're going to have to do your own legwork and you can organise David. Kiah, if you could issue a physical challenge to the listeners for the week, what's it going to be? It can be very difficult, it can be very entry level. You choose. What's Kiah Melverton's physical challenge for the week?
Oh, God. If you know what rep time you go off for 100, if you pick a rep time that you're getting about 10 seconds rest, however many hundreds you can do on that rep time, that's a set that we do. So I'll do however many hundreds on 110, however many I can make, and someone else might be swimming them off 120, but I think that's a really good personal challenge, and you can keep checking that every few weeks to see if you're improving as well.
So it's a good gauge of your progress. Yeah. I must ask Kiah, what's the hardest single session you've ever done? In all the Ks you've clocked up in the pool, all the years so far, what's the hardest one single session?
I think that IM set that I mentioned earlier, and I did another one a few years ago with my old coach and another boy in my squad. We had 2400s, one freestyle, one IM, and you descended the IM through. So the last 400 IM was pretty much stand up max. So by that time you've done 7.6k swimming and you're standing up and doing a 400 IM at the end.
So that was 24 400s. Yeah, wow. So that's a huge main set, right?
Yeah, it was huge.
Wow. So Kiah, listeners want to follow your journey onwards to Commonwealth Games 2018 on the Gold Coast here, World Championships this year, and then beyond to Tokyo. Where can listeners follow your journey and find out more about you?
So I'm on Instagram at Melverton Kiah, and I also have an athlete Facebook page. If you just search Kiah Melverton, it'll come up with a sports person page.
Fantastic. Well, Kiah, I think you have an exciting, I know that you have a really exciting future. You're a very grounded, humble, talented young athlete, and obviously you're in a great environment of high performance and doing all the right things from the outside looking in. And so I just want to, on behalf of the listeners, wish you all the best for the journey, and love to follow this career as it unfolds.
Thanks, Brad. It's been great.
Well done.
So, there you have it. Another episode of the Physical Performance Show. I hope you enjoyed it and you took something from it. If you did, be sure to let Kiah and myself know over on social. You can find us and drop us a message letting us know what your key takeaway was or how you've gone with Kiah's physical challenge for the week. We'd love to know, and certainly the guests of the program get a real buzz when they know that their message has been warmly received in their sharings. An enormous thank you to you, the show listener, who has subscribed to the podcast. If you'd like to subscribe, guys, it's very simple. Simply click subscribe from your preferred podcast app. And the benefit of that is that this program will automatically populate each week inside your app rather than needing to go searching for it when you want to take a listen. Big thank you, as always, to the two good folk and the team who bring this to you, and that is Daryl Misson, our audio engineer, and also Susan Wilkin, our VA for the show, and also the team at POGO Physio for their support in allowing this show to come to you each week also. If you'd like a copy of today's show notes, guys, be sure to jump over to pogophysio.com.au. And lastly, if you're into your running, then be sure to pick up a copy of my Amazon running and jogging bestseller, you can run pain-free. Over on Audible or iBooks now, so you can get it into your ears while you're on the move, or the good old traditional paperback version. It's 330 pages, packed full of running goodness, and you can find that over at pogophysio.com.au if you're on the Australian shores, or if you're overseas listening in, you can pick that up in paperback edition worldwide via Amazon. Coming up in next week's episode of the Physical Performance Show, I catch up with Matt Poole. Matt Poole is an Australian surf lifesaving Ironman who in 2016-2017 broke through to take his maiden Nutrigrain Ironman Series title. Now this occurred for Matt after many years of racing the series, many victories, but never an overall series title. There've been podiums in the past for the overall standings, but never the series title. I was on the beach in February witnessing Matt Poole go head-to-head with Nutrigrain Ironman Series legend Shannon Eckstein, and Matt came through with a stellar performance on the day to take his maiden title. So you're going to really enjoy Matt sharing around the highs and the lows of his career, persisting to get the breakthrough, and a whole lot more. So be sure to tune in next week to the Physical Performance Show. But until then, keep pursuing your physical best performance. I'm Brad Beer, and this has been the Physical Performance Show.